Welcome to this explainer. Okay, look, we have literally all been there, haven't we? It's 3 a.m., you're lying in bed, staring up at the ceiling, and out of nowhere you are hit with this massive, overwhelming wave of motivation. You tell yourself, tomorrow is the day. I am going to wake up early, I'm going to get my life together, get better grades, maybe even start that side hustle. And it feels so incredibly real in that moment. But then, morning comes, and that late night burst of pure ambition, it just entirely vanishes. Well, today, we're going to unpack exactly why that happens, and more importantly, how you can actually biologically fix it.
So, why does that 5 a.m. alarm we set with such fierce determination always, and I mean always, lose to the snooze button? It's kind of a trap, right? The trap of wanting these massive results without putting in the agonizing effort. Look, discipline is not easy. If it was, literally every single person walking down the street would be sporting a six-pack and driving a Bugatti. But they aren't. We fall into this illusion that a random motivational clip online is going to permanently rewrite our daily habits. But before we can actually build real discipline, we got to look at what we are fundamentally up against here.
Just take a look at the environment we live in today. Pretty much every single technological advancement in our modern society has conditioned our brains to crave absolute comfort and actively avoid any hint of discomfort. Think about it for a second. You're hungry? You don't have to hunt or forage. You can get fast food delivered right to your door in exactly 5 minutes with like 3 taps on a screen. You want a sense of progress without doing any real work? Just boot up a video game. Want romance without the terrifying prospect of actually talking to someone? The internet has an instant, endless supply of gratification. Everything around us is practically designed to make discipline a massive uphill battle.
All right, let's dive into Section 1, the brain's willpower center, moving beyond mere motivation and into actual biology.
We've got to move past these common tropes. When we see someone studying for 12 hours straight, we automatically assume they're just, genetically gifted, that they were born with some superhuman work ethic. But discipline isn't just a mood you wake up in. It's a physical mechanism. Meet the AMCC, the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. This is the biological secret of willpower right here. It is the exact brain region responsible for your ability to control your own actions, specifically when it comes to ignoring short-term comforts to pursue those long-term goals. The AMCC is the literal physical muscle of discipline inside your brain. It's the command center that says, no, we're doing the hard thing right now.
And this isn't just a neat metaphor, guys. There was this absolutely fascinating neurological study that compared the brains of obese individuals with the brains of highly fit individuals. The physical results were just undeniable. The obese individuals actually had a physically smaller AMCC in their brains, while the highly fit individuals possessed a visibly larger AMCC. This proves something incredible. Discipline can literally be grown. You can physically bulk up the willpower center of your brain. How crazy is that?
But here's the catch, and it's absolutely crucial. You cannot grow this brain region by doing things you already enjoy. If you genuinely love running 20 miles or you just love spending 2 hours at the gym, doing it won't grow your AMCC at all. The AMCC only levels up when you encounter a task you explicitly hate. You feel immense mental resistance, and then you force yourself to do it anyway. That specific friction, that moment of saying, I really don't want to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway, that is the only thing that triggers the growth.
Moving right along to Section 2, Grinding for Discipline XP. We're talking real-life RPG mechanics here.
To make this whole biological suffering thing actually feel actionable, let's look at discipline through the lens of a video game. In any role-playing game, everyone starts at level 0. Nobody is born a high-level disciplined master. And unless life was made by EA games, you don't get the option to just pay $100 to suddenly unlock level 100 discipline. You have to earn it. So here is the framework. Every single time you get a thought that you should do your homework or do a chore, but you immediately feel resistance, a goblin has literally just spawned right in front of you. Slaying that goblin by forcing yourself to do the task, that is exactly how you grind Discipline XP. It's an opportunity, not a punishment.
Which brings us to Section 3. Start with making your bed, or slaying those level 1 bosses.
The absolute biggest mistake people make is trying to jump straight into an 8-hour study session or a grueling 5 a.m. marathon on day 1. That is the equivalent of trying to fight a level 100 boss when your character is still stuck at level 1. You're just setting yourself up to get totally crushed. Actually, do me a favor. Look around the room you're in right now. Did you even make your bed this morning? Are there clothes scattered all over the floor? Do you have moldy pizzas sitting on a plate on your desk? Does your room look like a polluted river? If the answer is yes, well, that's hard proof that you are entirely unequipped for an 8-hour study session right now. You've got to start smaller.
There's this really famous saying, How you do anything is how you do everything. This is the compound effect in action. The way you handle tiny, annoying, seemingly insignificant frustrations heavily dictates how you are going to handle massive, life-changing challenges down the road. If you don't have the baseline discipline to just straighten out a blanket in the morning, your AMC is simply not strong enough to force you through hours of complex, deep work yet.
This framework totally transforms your daily annoyances. Think about making the bed, washing the dishes, picking up after your dog. These are your level 1 spawns, because these chores happen constantly throughout the day. They are basically an endless supply of free XP. Every time you don't want to wash a plate, boom, a goblin spawns. Kill it. Over time, doing these tiny tasks conditions your brain. You are consistently training your AMCs so that when the truly big tasks arrive, your brain is already used to pushing through that resistance.
Next up, Section 4, Daily Non-Negotiables. This is all about setting your minimums.
Once you're clearing out those level 1 goblins regularly, you need a baseline of discipline that you absolutely refuse to drop below, regardless of your mood. This simple framework guarantees constant progress. Setting a baseline, like, say, working out 4 times a week or dedicating 3 hours a day to deep work, ensures you're gathering mandatory XP. You might hate working out. You might hate staring at a blank document. But by making them non-negotiable, you force your AMC to engage every single day. The trick here is to start small and make them reasonable enough that you can actually stick to them. Once they feel easy, your AMC is grown, and it's time to add a little more weight to the bar.
Which leads us nicely into Section 5, Eat the Oatmeal First. This is all about protecting your baseline dopamine. You can have the best intentions in the world, but if you don't structure your morning correctly, you're going to accidentally sabotage your AMC before you even get out of bed. Imagine your morning is a breakfast buffet. You start with a bowl of plain oatmeal. This represents studying, running, the hard work. It's a bit bland, sure, but it's nutritious and it tastes fine. But suddenly, you spot a giant stack of pancakes totally drenched in syrup. This is TikTok, doom scrolling, and video games. If you eat the syrupy pancakes first, you fry your dopamine receptors. Suddenly, that plain oatmeal seems impossibly bland and absolutely repulsive. You can't even imagine going back to it. This is exactly what happens when you grab your phone and scroll social media first thing in the morning.
Protecting that baseline dopamine basically comes down to 3 simple steps. 1. Wake up. 2. Do the absolute hardest task immediately. Do not touch the pancakes. Eat the oatmeal first. Because if you knock out a brutal morning run or a heavy study session right away, you build a massive tolerance for discomfort. After surviving a terrible, freezing run at 6 a.m., sitting down to study for a math test at noon is going to seem like a complete walk in the park. All right, final section, Section 6, the ultimate shift, framing discipline as self-love.
We so often view discipline as this lifetime sentence of torture and constant grueling discomfort, right? But this requires an ultimate shift in your worldview. Discipline is actually the absolute highest form of self-love. It forces us to weigh 2 completely different types of heart. Because if you truly respected and loved yourself, you wouldn't sabotage your own future. Look at the regret versus the reward here. Being broke 24 hours a day is significantly harder than spending 2 hours working on a side hustle. Getting kicked out of school or your home is way harder than just studying for 2 extra hours. Being out of shape and unhealthy your entire life is infinitely harder than exercising for 1 hour today. We never, ever regret doing the hard tasks. But man, we always deeply regret procrastinating. Doing the work is a gift to your future self.
To really lock this in, you need an identity shift. Grab a piece of paper and write down exactly who the disciplined version of you is. What do they eat? How do they carry themselves? How do they react to failure? Humans naturally act in alignment with the person they deeply believe they are. Michael Jordan always operated under the unshakable identity that he was a winner, so when he lost, he simply doubled his effort. Adopt the identity of someone who just doesn't quit. Whether you envision yourself as a high-performing athlete or, hey, even your favorite badass anime warrior, as cringe as it might sound, it actually works. Make discipline your core identity. Which brings us to our final, lingering thought. There really is no magic life hack. It all comes down to doing the work when you desperately don't want to so your AMC can physically level up and grow. The suck is temporary.